I know where there's some, right here in the hall, clerk.
No, Molly, not in there. I have
Okay, I've run into a problem with the power supply. I recapped it, checked the resistors. I was pretty sure I had checked off the resistances of the secondaries and primaries. Here's the transformer right here. And I had measured, I thought, 1K across this side, 1K across this side, and then 8.7 from center tap to red and 8.8 from center tap to the other red. But when I plug this in to the wall, I should be able to measure, according to this, according to the schematic, I should be able to measure 12 volts right here. 12 volts across this capacitor, because that's what it's feeding up into the circuit. It's B plus for this transistorized radio is B plus of 12 volts right there. So this should be 12 volts going into this connector right here. And I can measure that pretty closely by measuring right across this new electrolytic I put in. And if I do that, I get an interesting reading. Right from here to here. It's 7.72. That's not 12 volts. You know, and with an unloaded system, it's probably actually putting out closer to 14 because it doesn't have any load on it right now, or should be putting out close to 14. But what it's doing is putting out 7.7 volts. If it's not half of 12, but it's darn close. So there's something wrong, and I started poking around, and I'll show you how I discovered the culprit, or what I think the culprit is. Oop, I'll leave that right there. Measure ohms, unplug the power supply. I will, pardon me for kicking the camera, I will shut out this cap so it doesn't surprise me while I'm messing around here. If you measure resistance across the AC plug of the radio, what you're measuring is across the primary of the power transformer. And in this case, it's 945 ohms, almost a K, which is what I measured, what I've noted on the schematic right here, 1K on this side, 1K on this side. But I was getting the 7.5 volts over here, or whatever it is, 7 volts, 7 plus volts. So something had to be wrong. And oftentimes when I have trouble sorting out what's going on with a circuit like this, I take the switches out and I redraw it so that it looks like this. And this is how the transformer is configured in the 115 volt position. One line comes in, it goes to the bottom of one transformer to the bottom of the second transformer. The other line comes in, goes to the top of each of these. That means they're in parallel. They're each getting 115 volts. In 230 volt mode, the primaries are in series. If you just draw it without the switch, and the way it's done electrically, this one comes in, goes to the bottom of the first primary. The top of the first primary is connected to the bottom of the second primary, and then the top of the second primary goes back to complete the circuit. So these are in series, these are in parallel. I was measuring resistance across here with this set in 115 volt range. If I change that to 30, which I will do right now, it says it's open. It says there's no resistance. Well, that pretty clearly indicates that I have a primary side. One side or the other of this transformer is open because there's no resistance through here. When I measure it here at 115 volts, I'm measuring the resistance of half, either this primary or this primary winding, not both. In fact, this should be closer to 500 ohms since they're in parallel. I just hadn't thought of that before. So what I have here is a bad power transformer, which I hate bad power transformers. I'll see if I can buy one. I don't have the inclination to rewire one. I'll see if I can buy one. If I can't, I may have to see if I can peel off, take it out, take the core out, and peel off layers of fish paper until I can find out whether the break is near the outside, which would be great, then it can be fixed, or if it's buried in the guts, and for me it can't be fixed. I just can't go there. I don't have the inclination or the equipment to do that. So a little troubleshooting, and I figured out what the B+ problem was with this power supply once I redrew the schematics. Okay, the replacement transformer has arrived and has been installed right here. This is a Hammond. Hammond used to be made in Canada. And now I see this one's made in China. I don't know whether Hammond has sold their business or gone out of business or what, but they're made in China now. Anyway, this one is exactly the same size as the original. It's a 186B12. It has dual, well, let me grab the documentation. It has dual primary coils right here, and then a center tap secondary, and this is supposed to put out 12 volts. So we'll see if it does. Oh, power cord wasn't plugged in all the way. Ah, and there we go. 11 volts. It's not 12. It's not 12, it's 11. It's probably enough for this radio, but I'm disappointed that it doesn't output 12. It's not on a load right now. It's not plugged to the radio. The power supply itself is drawing 13 milliamps, which ain't much. Nothing appears to be getting hot. That's a good sign. If I switch this to 220 right here, this voltage should drop about in half. Oh, if it could bleed down the capacitor fast enough. Yeah, the capacitor is draining now. We could watch that slowly drop for an hour or so, but I won't. I'll just switch it back to 115. Okay, I think we have enough voltage to try the radio out. Let me hook up some of this and that. And this we need to get over to the chassis to plug in. This is our antenna, needs to get coupled over here to a screw. I've got the, let me rotate you here. Got the chassis right here, and it's connected via a couple of jumpers. The speaker is connected here. Oscilloscope cable in case I want it. Well, we probably don't. And let me hook this up and We'll give it a spin. Okay, I have the power connector in. Oh, I haven't got the need another jumper cable, the antenna hooked up yet. This goes right there. All right, we'll switch to dim bulb. Turn the power all the way down. Make sure the radio is on. Okay, I have the band switch set to, what is it? Frequency modulation, it looks like. Yeah. Okay, we got power, antenna, speaker. Radio is on. The variac is turned all the way down. I'm on dim bulb. Turn this on. I'll bring the variac up until the tipped-in device lights up. There it is. Okay, we've got 51 volts going into it. Our power supply is putting out 4.31. Leave this for a second to make sure I don't see any smoke. I don't. Okay, I'll start bringing the voltage up. The dim bulb tester is behaving itself. Okay, we're at 75 volts. 6 milliamps, that's not much. 75 volts, we've got 6.8 volts coming out of the power supply. No noise yet. Okay. Let's turn it up. Ooh. I hear radio noise. I hear a radio station. Ha! Hey! Hey, it's working.
Despite his best efforts to convince GOP senators and even progressives in his own party, a defeated Senator Manchin eventually pulled his string.
Wow. All right. We got FM. Nice volume. Tone control seems to be controlling tone. I can't remember what this one is.
That decade when Ronald Reagan was elected,
All right. Check it out. Doggies. That's impressive. I'm pleased. This is great. This is great. I might be done. So here it is, looking a lot better, in my opinion, than it did when it came in. Zenith TransOceanic 7000Y. Case has been cleaned up, been recapped. Well, let me plug it in. It's power transformer and power cord both. The power transformer was open and the power cord was a mess. So that's been replaced. They both have been replaced. Power supply has been recapped.
But can't remember what for. Listen, any.
The antenna's not up. New antenna.
O'Reilly Auto Parts specializes in keeping your car on the road. Not sure how much life is left? Tengo el número 1 para baterías. Afirmaciones sobre datos del MPD Group.
It's a nice sounding radio.
En los pasados 2 años,
Signal strength
hemos
meter
tenido que
works. The map light works. The dial light works. The dial, the background here is still wrinkled. I've not been able to find a replacement for it, and I'm not going to look anymore.
Ven a verlo.
But if at the end of 4 years, I don't think you're real.
Yeah, so it's a very nice Zenith. All in order as far as I can tell. The maps down here, I had to reinforce this faux leather tab to pull it out because that was falling apart. A lot of the pages are stuck together, but it's in here at least. All the channels work as far as I can tell. Oops, sorry for the bump. There's the back, the handle, although not perfect, is much better than it was. It's the back. This is a replacement power cord. I had to do a little trimming on to make it fit, but it fits. And it's not wound up like another one I found, like this one. I found this one is all wound up. It won't coil in the storage place in the case. So it's less use to me than I had hoped. Anyway, the new one, after a little judicious trimming around the corners, works just fine. Inside, he said. Knew there had to be a tab there somewhere. The battery case is all cleaned up. Got one battery in place. This is the one that holds the or powers the dial light and the map light. I have not populated this to see if it works. I have no reason to believe it won't. Yeah, so it's all done. It's cleaned up. It took a lot of work on this to take it completely apart and get all the sawdust chips out of it. But they're out now, and it looks great, and it works great. So I'm very happy with this. Oh, and this new cord will store back in here, like it should be able to. So I'm very happy with it. Yeah, I don't know what to do with it next, but I'll figure something out, I'm sure. So anyway, it's all done. It was a bit of work. I mostly work on tube-type radios where there's some elbow room to get in there. You have to dismantle this a fair amount to get into where the capacitors are in this radio. Here they are. Here's the body count. A bunch of them. A couple of discs that it turns out I probably didn't need to replace, but I did anyway because they were being suspicious at the moment. It turns out they're fine. Yeah, so end of the story on the Zenith, and it's on to its next life. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.
makers of Johnson's Wax.